Hi everyone, it's Crystal here of Homesteading, Vancouver Island. I'm just setting up my chick brooder here today. I have an incubator over there with some baby chicks hatching, just starting to hatch. So I'm setting up our brooder. I'm going to be using this extra large dog kennel, which we've used in the past to do a brooder. So I'm just going to show you the process that I use to set it up. So the first step here is obviously give it a very thorough cleaning. So we've totally washed this down. It's ready to go. And now I've collected some cardboard boxes, which are all the same size. And then you're just going to cut your cardboard to fit the perimeter of the dog kennel. Now I'm going to place the cardboard on the inside of the kennel just because if you put it on the outside, you're going to have a gap in here and the chicks could certainly get stuck in there and get hurt. So it's easier and safer if you just put the cardboard on the inside just like that. And then you can see I've just put some packing tape over any holes there just so they can't squeeze their way out of those cracks. So if I don't put cardboard in here, the holes are way too big. The baby chicks will get out. And if you have any other animals like cats or dogs, then they will easily stick a paw in and they could hurt your chicks. So that's the first step, is I'm going to do the cardboard. Now to secure the cardboard from the outside, what I've done is I just put the cardboard in to fit. Then I poke some holes just with a screwdriver, and I'll show you that. But basically you just poke a couple holes, and then you can take something like a twist tie, and I have a few of these laying around. They're just like this, and then I cut them into small pieces just like that with a scissor. And then when I go to affix the cardboard to the kennel on the outside, you can see I've got the two holes punched. I stick the wire through from the inside, and then I just twist it on the back side here. So I've got all my ties on the outside so that if you need to adjust them, you can do that from the outside. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to get more cardboard, and we're going to keep going. Okay, so I'll get the tape on there. Okay, so now when you get to the corner, this cardboard as it is, it's a little short for the corner. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to push it into the corner, and then I'll mark where I need my holes, and you can do that with the cardboard. So you just bend it to where you need it, and then punch your holes in the corner. I'm going to go right on the corner there. Okay, that's done. Okay, so I have finally finished the cardboard, and let me tell you, it was a bit of a pain. It's pretty easy until you get to the door on this dog kennel, and the door, because it actually lifts to open, and then to close it you have to actually lift it and then engage it. It's not quite as straightforward as the other sides with the cardboard. Okay, so since you need to be able to have the door open and closed properly, I had to just adjust the height of the inner door panel, and then I also had to attach a piece on the outside just to cover up that gap that was left on the inside. So anyways, all the cardboard's on. We're ready for the next step. And so what I've got now is I've got puppy pads. I'm going to be putting down a layer of puppy pads, and then I'm going to be putting paper towel on top of the puppy pads. And then I've got my chick food. This is just chick starter. I'm going to turn it upside down. And then I've got my chick waterer, which I'm going to fill up. And I do have some marbles in there, and that's just to prevent accidental drowning in there so that they can only get a little bit of water at a time. And then I've got over here, I'm just testing my little mama hen house that I've made here. So I'm just going to be using some heating mats. These are seedling heat mats that you use for garden. And I'm going to just show you what I'm going to do with those in a shoebox. Okay, so I'm going to get these puppy pads put in here. So I saw this idea from another YouTube video, which I thought was a great idea. And because I'm going to try to minimize the dust inside the house, I'm not going to be using wood shavings at this point. I'm going to only be using a layer of puppy pads and a layer of paper towel. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, now I'm going to put down the paper towel. So the idea is that you can just easily lift up the paper towel like once a day. As it gets poopy, you can change out the paper towel for some new stuff and leave the puppy pads in place for a couple days. Okay, well, we'll see how long we can get the paper towel to stay put. Okay, now I'm going to be putting my little house, the heated house, on this end because it's closest to the wall. Okay, so here's a better look inside. Those are just shadows on there, but I've got my cardboard in there. I've got my layer of puppy pads, and I've got a layer of paper towels. And now I'm going to get my heated house set up for the chicks. Okay, so I'm going to be using some seedling heat mats. I've got 2 of them. I'm going to have one on top and one on the bottom. And I've got a shoebox here, which I've modified. I've cut out a hole in the front of it, and I've just lined it with some paper towel. And I've got a little thermometer here. Currently, it's at 31 degrees Celsius. And just change that. So that's roughly 88 Fahrenheit. It's a little bit low, but it's not being heated right now. But once I have the lid on and I have the heat mat on the bottom and the top, we'll have it set up and we'll just check the temperature for the chicks. And the other thing that I'm going to be using, which I forgot to mention, was this rubber shelf liner. I got a roll of this from the dollar store. I did use some of it inside the incubator under the eggs, but I've got enough left here that I'm going to use this to cover my heat mats so that they're not too hot for the chicks. Just have a rubber liner over them. So I'm going to do that as well. Okay, so I just put mat number 1 down. I'm now going to cover it with the rubber shelf liner. Okay. Then I'm going to get the little house, my shoebox house. I'm going to put that in there. Now, keep in mind this house will have to be upgraded once the chicks get a little bigger. I'm going to put my thermometer in there so that I can check to see how warm it gets before I put the chicks in. And I will put the other one on top. Now, I think that one I can just put upside down. And I'll just feed that out the back here. Okay. Okay, so there's a look at the heat mat on the bottom, rubber shelf liner, shoebox, heat mat on the top, and now we're going to finish it with some more rubber shelf liner. Okay, so I think I've got everything I need set up in this brooder for right now. I've got the cardboard perimeter all done. I've got the padding, which is puppy pads and paper towel. I've got my little chick feeder filled with chick crumble. I've got my chick water filled with marbles and warm water. And then I've got my little house with 2 heat mats and some paper towel inside. So currently it's sitting at 26 Celsius, so not warm enough. I just plugged them in though, so I'm going to wait and let that warm up, and hopefully it'll reach a higher temperature and it'll be ready for the chicks. There it is, nice and safe from any other whole household pets, and it's safe from the chicks escaping. So, and it's also very big, and it's going to give them plenty of room to grow. And I don't think we'll need anything else for a brooder until they move out into the big chicken coop. Okay, here we are with our new little chicks. This was our first chick. Hi. Hi there. We've moved 2 of them into the brooder now because I'm not seeing any more pips from the other eggs right now. So this little one hatched about 14 hours ago now. So it's all fluffed up, it's dry, and it's ready for drinking some water. The other little one only hatched a few hours ago, but they're both puffed up and dry, so we'll move them to the brooder, and hopefully everything's warm enough for them inside their little house. Hey, hi. Hi, sweetie. Hi, sweetie. Yeah, so I'll check out the other eggs and hopefully we'll get some pips by tomorrow. You're very adventurous, hey?